with my high heels that I hung with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Colby had a plate of food in one hand and a sheet of paper in another. "Hey, I'm Colby." "Nice to meet you. I'm Rebecca." "What's your story? Why are you here?" he asked, genuinely interested. An avalanche of words fell out of my mouth as I divulged my whole life story up until that very moment, with my very short dress and my poorly done hair. By the time I was finished, his plate of food was gone. He had an ease about him, a familiar feeling like we had been friends for years, as if I could tell him anything and everything and he'd understand. He was a megastar and held himself as such, but he was also personable and down to earth. We talked for 45 minutes until he was summoned to work. "Good talk," he said calmly and coolly as he walked away. "You too," I yelled after him, nearly falling over in my high heels, not at all calm or cool. I liked it up here. I'd even just made a new friend. With all this socializing and networking, the time to work snuck up on me. Same wheel, different cogs. Life on the road can be all-encompassing. And when you're really trying to make sure you get to the tippy top of the tippy top, I'd begun to date someone as a distraction. I was 99.9% positive he wasn't the dude for me. He was a nice lad and we had somewhat similar interests. He was a UFC fighter, I was a WWE wrestler. But there was no real deep connection, no commonalities, and our being it. And so when work life felt so very meh and uninspiring, there was more meh waiting for me on the other side, but it seemed better than nothing. And so my time and attention were split between being in a relationship that constantly felt like a struggle and struggling with accepting my current position at work. Alas, I wouldn't have to wait long. The rumors were true. I was the first woman to be drafted to the Blue brand. Charlotte and I held it together until the draft and TV tapings were over before Sheamus, Colby, Virgil, Charlotte, Big E talk about much beyond food and training. He was sweet, barreled right on through, constantly repeating to myself, "What's the worst that can happen? It's all an adventure, like Dad says." Work-wise, I felt like I was failing miserably. This call cemented it. "We're going to put Alexa over at TLC, but don't worry, you'll win it back at Royal Rumble." "You won't put the title back on me at Rumble," was my first thought. I was never a champion, never held any resentment towards her in real life for that. But I felt like my career knocked on the door of Colby's Holiday Inn hotel room. He opened the door looking sleepy, box in hand. "Thanks, Colby. No problem." "Are you ready for tomorrow?" I asked. "Yeah, I guess so. How are you doing?" "I'm okay," I lied as the tears built up in my eyes. "What's wrong?" he said, startled by this emotional outburst over such a benign question. The tears were now streaming down my face, impossible to stop. Come in, you can't be crying in the hallway." He ushered me into his cramped hotel room, quickly clearing off the clothes on his bed to make space for me. "Sit down here," he said kindly as he stood, not wanting to crowd me. "What's going on?" "It's everything," I blubbered as I went into the problems of my relationship. "I like the guy as a friend, but I'm not happy. But I'm also not brave enough to end it because I'm an insecure coward." He listened, knowing there wasn't really any advice he could give me if I wasn't ready to end it. "And I just don't know what to do with work. I feel like every time I gain momentum, it just gets shut down on the Ferris wheel," he suggested. "I'm not really feeling it today," I responded, without admitting I'm a scared little baby when it comes to heights. "Oh, come on, it'll be fun," he insisted, pulling me towards the rickety ride. I climbed in reluctantly, terrified, clutching the edges with a death grip. When we reached the top, the Ferris wheel stopped. "Oh no, it's broken," I yelled, fearing this would be the end of Rebecca Quinn. One knee and produced a small black box. Oh no, I thought. How could we have such wildly different views of this relationship? "Will you marry me?" he asked, opening the box and producing a pear-shaped diamond ring, or, as I saw it, a teardrop. "Yes," I said like a fucking coward. "What's one to do?" Unless you're ready to break up there and then, you say yes like the good person you are and then break their heart at a much more suitable, convenient time for you. At least I had said yes. Otherwise, this would have been pure mortification. Colby was not one such friend, and after 4 months of being engaged, it had become inevitable this needed to end. For several weeks, I said to myself, next time we fight, it'll be over. So I'm not proud to say that when the fight did happen, with me out of town and over a text message, I broke it off. He moved out while I was away in Europe for a 2-week tour. I did feel bad. I liked him, but I knew it would never work. On this night, September 16, 2018, over 2 years since winning my first and only title in WWE, I would be winning my second. Only now, I was in a much better position than before, happening on less than a week's build after having been pegged for. It felt weird to go out there and hug Charlotte. Everyone had bought into our story. I didn't want to give them any indication it wasn't real. And the story was far from over. While my brain was healing, so was my heart. My friendship with Colby had been growing since October. He was unhappy in his relationship and had been for quite some time, and I had been unceremoniously ghosted by my latest fling. Colby and I had always had a connection, but now we were spending more time together due to booking circumstances and were bonding over our respective love life woes. His tended to be, maybe monogamy isn't for me. While I love the idea of one person, but I don't seem to be matching with the right people. We talked openly and honestly about our thoughts and feelings with no judgment on either side. It was refreshing. He was flying into LA after a tour in South America and had the day off. "Do you have a spare room?" he asked. "No, but I have a couch if you need somewhere to stay," I responded, being aware that as one of WWE's biggest stars, he could afford a hotel room. "That sounds good." I was nervous about him staying. There was clearly something there, and if not handled with care, things could get messy. I picked him up from the airport, and as we rode over to the gym for a quick workout, somehow the movie Heavyweights came up in conversation. "I've never seen it," I admitted. "You've never seen it?" he balked. "We have to watch it." "I don't have a TV, or rather, my TV doesn't work." "You don't have a goddamn working TV?" he scoffed. "I never watch it. I live in LA, man. Too much to do. You can try and get it working if you like." "Right, that's what we'll do tonight," he said, taking charge. As we got back to my 1-bedroom Marina Del Rey apartment, and he went to work repairing my broken television to no avail, he confided that he boasted I was hardly feeling optimistic. After realizing TV repairman was likely not something Colby could add to his resume, he relented, "I guess we'll watch it on my laptop," which would force us to sit closer to each other on my sectional couch as he held the laptop on outstretched legs. The movie had just started when he put his hand on my leg. Oh no, what do I do? I'm not ready for this. Ah! I thought on repeat for almost the duration of the 1.5-hour movie. At one point, I attempted to match his body contact. He expected to resist this giant brooding hunk of a man. But he was also my buddy, my pal, my colleague, and I did not want to complicate that. When the movie was over, we shifted our rigid hands and recited hilarious heavyweight scenes without ever commenting on the awkward body contact. As we both got tired and prepared to go to sleep on our respective furniture items, I gave him a hug that lingered a few seconds too long. If anything was going to happen, this would be the time for it to happen. But he would have to make the first move. I couldn't be charged with ruining our friendship. He did not. Probably for the best, I thought, as I made my way to my bedroom while he stayed on the couch. I woke up the next morning to him poking his beardy head through the door. "You up?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "I am now," I thought, along with, "Get out of here. I look awful in the morning and I haven't brushed my teeth." He got into bed beside me. "Did you sleep okay?" "Yeah, did you?" I asked as I tried to keep my mouth shut in order to preserve him from my stank breath. "Yeah, I sent you a text, but you were probably asleep already." "Oh, I didn't see it." I picked up my phone to see a "You still awake?" text from my hot friend Colby. He admitted he had contemplated making a move. Luckily, I was already asleep. I wasn't ready for any of our mutual friends for breakfast and workouts. We were back to normal, but maybe a little closer than before. And I was hopeful that if a guy is smart, cool, and competent, not to mention handsome, as Colby was interested in me, maybe I'd find someone right for me outside of my work/friend pool. TLC took place in San Jose, where years earlier I had attended my first WrestleMania, hoping to one day be the main event. And while it wasn't WrestleMania, tonight we were the main event. I watched the match before a struggle amidst chants of "We want Becky" getting me excited. Or I would have been if that match didn't include my buddy Colby. So I looked on with conflicting emotions, hoping that this wouldn't make things awkward. The doubt that I had let set in was starting to dissipate. The crowd hadn't turned on me yet, but of course not. It was only my first match. Colby came back through the curtain looking dejected. He and his opponent, Dean Ambrose, had worked their asses off out there. But it didn't matter. The crowd had come to see the man. Colby passed me on his way to talk to Vince. "I'm ready for you," he said, discouraged. When I landed in Arizona, the home of the Royal Rumble that year, Colby kindly offered to pick me up from the airport. He had gotten in earlier that day and rented an Airbnb to stay at. "You're welcome to join," he offered. I declined. I had to concentrate on my matches, damn it, and needed no man with a body built by the gods distracting me. Though I may have topped up my makeup upon arrival and given myself a little perfume spritz before getting in the car. The drive from the airport to the hotel took only 10 minutes, but we stayed talking in Colby's car for almost 2 hours. I hated how easy it was and would sporadically question what it would be like if we kissed, derailing my own thoughts by arguing that his beard would likely leave a rash on my face, and that would be very uncomfortable indeed. Indeed. It was getting late and I had an early start time the next day. We hugged, a hug that once again lasted a few moments longer than it should have, before I retreated to my room, texting my friend Jay, "I think I may be in love with Colby." To which he responded, "I just turned on my phone and it appears to be broken." What? You literally just gave me a laundry list of all the reasons that would be a bad idea this morning. What can I say? Single Becky is unpredictable. It is a bad idea, I would remind myself. But you're single, Becky. You can explore whatever you want. No attachments. You get what you want out of it, you strong, independent woman, you. Hell yeah. I wasn't getting feelings. I was starting a goddamn movement. I was a regular Gloria Steinem, thank you very much. The following day, which was the night before Rumble, Colby invited me out to dinner. Playing, is it? Truth be told, I wasn't much into the selfie game. I often scoffed at the kids for their willy-nilliness to send selfies. Quite conceited, are we? Arrogance, is it? Look at me. I'm so beautiful that you will fall madly in love with me for my beautiful yet only slightly edited picture of me pouting like a duck, is how I imagine the inner monologue of the selfie sender goes. Whatever happened to wooing someone with wit and intelligent quips? A joke, perhaps? I'm not quite sure, but this was how the kids were doing it these days, so I decided to get hip with the kids. And by kids, I mean Colby, a full-grown adult male. I wasn't sending any selfies to kids. Anyway, my midsection had a hint of abs on this day, should I flex correctly under the right lighting, and I thought I should share them with someone, even if I was thinking, I really shouldn't, but that's usually how the best stuff starts. To which he responded with heart emoji eyes, and we continued texting like excited teenagers. I barely slept that night. Selfie adrenaline, nerves, and anticipation of what was to come combined were all taking chunks out of sleep time. The date was January 27th, 2019. The Rumble where the man came around. It took place in Chase Field, a large baseball stadium that held upwards of 40,000 people. I walked out to a roar from the crowd. Fans holding the man signs illuminated the arena, and I was overwhelmed with gratitude. My favorite pay-per-view of the year, and this time I would be winning the Rumble at the end of the night. The plan was for Lana to be attacked by Nia on her way to the ring, thus rendering her unfit to compete, and by proxy leaving a spot open in the Rumble. I made my way out, summoning the energy of Zeus to a chorus of cheers, saw Lana crumpled up on the ground, and wondered if anyone would mind if I joined her momentarily for a quick nap before getting on with business. No napping would be allowed, as I argued with Fit Finley, who was attending our fallen comrade Lana and had suddenly become the authority on who was allowed in the Rumble for some reason. Whatever, it's wrestling, we make up the rules as we go. In the end, it came down to me and Charlotte. However, not before I got pushed off the stairs and my knee was injured by a salty Naya who had just been eliminated. I would have to overcome as many obstacles as possible on my way to the top. The referees were about to call the match, declaring Charlotte the winner, before I valiantly hobbled my way into the ring and, after a series of blows, tossed her over the top and did the one thing that every wrestling fan turned wrestler dreams of doing, the classic point to the WrestleMania sign. The night was not over yet, though. I still had to watch Colby win his Rumble. It felt so serendipitous that these two flirty friends were both having the biggest Rumble nights of their lives. A true love story, even if one of the characters in this particular story didn't believe in monogamy anymore and the other was skeptical and guarded of the other's intentions. Anywho, Colby had been having problems with his back. He had fractured his spine in a match a little while ago, but hadn't told anyone about it because he's a machine that can fight through just about anything and didn't want to miss out on this opportunity. He was also competing for that WrestleMania main event spot. I watched nervously, knowing he was going through a table mid-match, and I prayed to the heavens that he didn't mess himself up too bad. That would have really put a dampener on this flirting. When he came through Gorilla, there were camera crews there to capture him. While out for dinner, he was sending me pictures of his food, which looked far more appealing than ours. We're still eating, so I might have to pass on tonight, I finally bailed. I was supposed to get a red-eye tomorrow after Raw, but should I stay and hang out? Yeah, do that. That would be cool. Except I have to be out of my Airbnb by tomorrow morning. Colby, you love hanging out with your friend Colby. It's true, Mr. Devil, sir. I do. Cool, I'll bring my bags over when I check out if that's okay. Sure is. See you tomorrow. Sleep tight. I was working out in the hotel gym when Colby said he was on his way. Flustered, I finished my set and ran upstairs to shower before meeting him at the elevator. My body language was signaling my nervousness as I desperately tried to fight it. You're the man, remember? You're the freaking man. God damn it, why can't you just be the man in real life? I argued with myself. What the hell are you so nervous about? It's your friend. You know it's not going to go anywhere. Just have some fun and stop being so uptight. Mind if I get changed? He asked as we got into my room. Why do you need to get changed? I thought, but I responded, make yourself at home. My voice cracking like that of a prepubescent boy. He didn't go into the bathroom or attempt any other form of modesty, just stripped down to his underwear right there in front of me, quads glistening as the sunlight cascaded into the room. Fuck. Well, it's gonna happen, Rebecca. No use in fighting it now. Would you like a kombucha? I asked, the most millennial pickup line ever. The mini fridge in my room was just beside the bed, which was exactly where he was sitting. Sure. What you got? Mint mojito, strawberry serenade, raspberry hibiscus. I'll try the raspberry hibiscus. I bent down to get the bottle, then stood up and gave it to him. The kombucha, that is. Now is the time. You got this, Quinn. You are the man. I stood directly over him, straddling his legs while he was seated on the bed. He had talked a good game. Let's see if he can back it up. He looked nervous. I could tell I was right by the way he said, I'm nervous. Our lips met, and soon we were in full make-out mode. So this was what it was like to kiss him. Beard tickling, tongues rolling, my heart pounding. Years of sexual tension and energy went into this one moment. I wasn't expecting that, he said after. Bitch, of course you were. You were laying the groundwork for months, possibly even years, I thought. But I responded, me neither. We were both liars. We should go, I said, finally putting an end to its progression. We had a whole night ahead of us. Raw had an early call time and I was feeling like the new kid at school. I was a SmackDown resident and being in this new environment, this was the moment everyone was waiting for. I was choosing Ronda Rousey as my WrestleMania opponent. Coming off the highs of the night before and the events earlier in the day, I was feeling pretty darn good about myself. TV time is prime real estate to a performer. But as a babyface, if you get too much exposure, you run the risk of the audience getting sick of you. Which is also the risk I was running with escalating things with Colby. We work together. What if we get sick of each other? Nonetheless, I waited for Colby to be done in the hallway of the Phoenix Arena, trying to make it not so obvious we were leaving together. We made it back to my room, shut the door, and immediately began pawing at each other. Clothes were thrown across the room, and I kept thinking, my friend Colby's gonna see me naked. What if he's not into it, and then it's all just awkward from here on out? Abort mission, Rebecca! Oh, but it feels so nice, and he looks too good. You're in too deep now, Beck. Well done, you failure. But on the outside, I tried to feign confidence and fumble my way through. This new level of intimacy could change everything between us. Lying beside him felt so comfortable, but I still couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I was in bed with such a longtime friend and had just experienced him in a whole new way. I was less thinking, he's the one, and was more thinking, I wonder how we'll get out of this and not feel weird around each other. Do you want to hang out again? Colby texted me about the upcoming loop we were both on. This is already too much, I thought, but of course responded, sure, let's do it. I arrived in Portland, where he was watching the Super Bowl with Bailey and a tag team called The Revival, everyone polite enough not to say anything, even though we were obviously getting cozy. Later, I tried to fight my instinct to get close to him. I knew I needed to keep my distance. But being with him was so effortless. Everything clicked. Conversation, interests, outlook. We had every type of chemistry firing on all cylinders. And while we lay there talking, he interrupted me to tell me I looked gorgeous. Aww, I cooed as my heart melted, feeling like a princess. Maybe there was potential there. But I was worried about getting distracted. I needed to be well rested, head fully in the game. And though it was also easy to have someone who understood my concerns, in many regards, he was my competition. We were both aiming for that top spot in the main event of WrestleMania. That night, Colby found a hip vegan Portlandy spot for us to go where we could go incognito. As we chatted and played footsie over hummus and cucumbers, he asked what my expectations were in all of this. There were none, really, other than I expected not to get hurt at the end of it. I was concentrating on wrestling, and that had to be my number one priority. When I said you were gorgeous yesterday and I saw the look on your face, I thought, oh no, he said, implying that he was worried about me catching feelings. It felt like a revelation. Well, that's it then. We really shouldn't go any further. He asked if I wanted to stay the night and drive in the morning, but I declined. Despite the fact that I was about to drive in a wild snowstorm that just hit the area, I thought it better to begin my distancing now. The next day at home in LA, I took a hot yoga class to sweat the remaining stench of raw out of me. When I had complete clarity, I needed to tell Colby immediately that we couldn't continue any more of this malarkey. It would be the biggest mistake ever. I can't do casual, and he isn't looking for anything serious. But I could be the best friend he ever had. We just had to end this right this second and be BFFs forever. Mid-downward dog, I became so consumed that I grabbed my mat and water bottle, dabbed the sweat off my body, and rushed out of the studio to text Colby. What are you up to? Just teaching class, he replied. He owned a wrestling school and taught there regularly. How are you, sweetheart? Ugh, swoon. I love that he called me sweetheart. But still, clarity. I now had clarity. I'm great. So great. I won't bother you. I'll talk to you after. You're never bothering me. What's up? Well, I just had an epiphany. We can't do this anymore. We just have to be friends. Wait, what? No, why? He responded. You don't want to get into anything, and this has the potential to get messy, so we're better off ending it now. I was so excited to tell him how terrible this all was. That's not what I want. Is it something I did? If you don't like me, you can just tell me. No, I think you're the best, but it's like this. If I go in with no armor, I'm begging to be pummeled. But if I go in all suited up, I don't feel anything. So what's the point? This is a great thing. You're not looking for anything right now, and this way we can be the best of friends and you can sow all your wild oats. I guess you're being smart. I hate that you're being smart." He might have hated that I was being smart, but I loved it for me and went to bed happy as a clam. When I went to go train with our mutual friend Joshy G the next day, he had already heard about our conversation. "What are you doing?" Josh asked me judgingly. "He's not interested in me, Josh. He wants to be single for a while." This is the smartest thing. "You guys just make sense, though." "No, honestly, this is the best for everyone," I argued. Colby texted me later that day, still downtrodden by this decision. "Can we still hang out this weekend?" "Of course." "Do you want to stay in my room?" "I can do that." I love a slumber party. Who doesn't love a slumber party? That's totally something BFFs do. And so, after a loop where, because I was suspended, I would just show up and beat some people up and then leave, which really is a great gig if you can get it, I rocked up to the Hilton in Grand Rapids. He had left me a key at the front desk and had pre-warned me this room was huge. Great, I thought. All the better for the separation. I put my key in the door. True to his word, the room was huge. I walked down the hallway and rounded the corner to find him in bed already. In the bed already, I should say. No twin beds, as would be customary for this grown-up slumber party. And he had his shirt off, his pecs sitting above the sheets, an acceptable amount of chest hair. My God, he looked good. Maybe this wasn't going to be as easy. Stand your ground. It's better to just be friends. You're smart, Rebecca. Gone too far. Pheromones acting like unstoppable magnets. My body had a mind of its own. A horny mind of its own. We talked for over an hour, our faces being drawn together until we were mere centimeters apart. And that was it. We were passionately making out. Clothes were off. We were in too deep. The connection was too strong. And it felt so right. The next day, as we walked through the icy Grand Rapids street en route to coffee, we actually held hands. It didn't strike me as the hand-holding type. What happens from here? He asked. I don't know. Fuck it. We'll figure it out.